welcome to Swimming in Popcorn.
All right, first episode of the podcast, take one.
What do we do?
I'm just going to let it record. I feel like April from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
What do I do?
They're like, you're lying.
Daddy, it's recording.
Yeah, I know. I just said I'm going to leave it recording. This is too much. This is too much.
Wait, what if they like it?
Who's they?
The people who are watching.
Hey, our one subscriber, Bobby Taylor. Thanks for watching our podcast right now.
Don't you mean listening?
This is very nerve-wracking. We are wasting precious, valuable resources, aka my laptop battery.
Just charge it while we're doing it. Don't tell him what to do. He's your daddy. Welcome to Swimming in Popcorn.
This is Swimming in Popcorn. We are reviewing / podcasting / discussing / struggling to start up a conversation about the movie Imaginary. It's a 2024 American supernatural horror film. Put out by Blumhouse, which makes some of our favorite movies.
Like Halloween.
They did the Halloween trilogy.
Oh, Halloween is awesome.
They did the Five Nights at Freddy's. They've done
Imagine
The Purge.
The Purge was a good movie. What's The Purge?
They
Late Night with
The
the Devil?
Insidious, right?
No. They did Megan.
Yes, I love Megan. That's my favorite.
It released March 8th, so just over 2 months ago. Anyways,
It's time for the plot.
3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
children's book author Jessica is married to widower musician Max. Max has 2 daughters from his first marriage, younger daughter Alice and teenager Taylor. Jessica is plagued by nightmares that include her mentally ill father Ben and a fictional character from her books, Simon the Spider. When the family moves into Jessica's child home, Alice discovers a teddy bear named Chauncey and forms a bond with him. An elderly neighbor, Gloria, who babysat Jessica when she was a child, shares memories of Jessica's childhood that she cannot remember. Max leaves for a tour, and Chauncey begins to disturb Jessica. One day, Taylor invites over a friend, Liam, who is toyed with by Chauncey. The teddy briefly turns into a monstrous bear. Jessica narrowly stops Alice from slamming her hand down onto a nail, prompting her to call a child psychologist, Dr. Soto. She discovers that only she and Alice can see the stuffed bear. Soto shows her footage of a past patient who used the same phrase as Alice. Never ever. Alice disappears, which Taylor blames her stepmother for. Gloria tells Taylor that Chauncey was also Jessica's childhood imaginary friend. Imaginary friends are spirits who tether to the young and become sinister if abandoned. Jessica goes through her old belongings and finds drawings of Chauncey and the Never Ever. All 3 women complete Chauncey's scavenger hunt together, resulting in the glowing door leading to the Never Ever realm. Here they see Jessica's repressed memories. As a child, she was lured by Chauncey into the Never Ever. Ben rescued her, but was driven mad after seeing Chauncey's eyes, resulting in Jessica being sent to live with her grandmother. Gloria closes the escape route, having become obsessed with the realm. She reveals to the horrified girls that she had been in contact with Chauncey, who has promised her the power of the Never Ever if she brought them there, but is then mauled to death by Chauncey in the midst of her insane rant. Jessica stops Chauncey by stabbing him in the eye with scissors. After reuniting with Ben and Max at Ben's institution, Jessica realizes she is still stuck in the Never Ever. Chauncey used Alice as bait to get her, and seeks revenge for her abandonment. Taylor saves her, and Chauncey transforms into his true form akin to Simon the Spider. The spider tries to drive them insane with his eyes, but Alice sets the creature on fire and seals him behind the door. The family escapes as the house burns to the ground. They check into a hotel, but are frightened by a child playing with a teddy bear that resembles Chauncey. They leave for another hotel for their safety. And that is the
Whole movie.
whole movie pretty much. Yeah, that's That's the summary of the plot.
I thought when Chauncey turned into his like monstrous form, he didn't look very. They didn't detail him very good. It looked like a guy was just hiding inside a costume.
You mean like the CGI?
I
thought the mom stabbed him on the back of his neck.
Yeah, I thought
Because she threw it up, not like this way towards his eye.
Yeah, I thought she stabbed him in the neck too.
So I'm kind of confused. It said the dad was a widower, but so is the mom really dead?
I don't know.
That is a great question. They never really explained much about the mom, to my knowledge. Now,
Yeah.
I've seen the movie twice. I am not sure. I didn't really catch the backstory of the mom. And that kind of goes into, I don't want to ramble, sorry. That kind of goes into, I think we should discuss the writing of this movie at some point. I have problems with it. I know, Morgan, you liked it. I don't dislike the movie. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying it's bad, but the writing's kind of all over the place. You kind of don't even notice that Max, the dad, is a musician until he talks about how he can cancel the tour like 30, 45 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
That's when you pick up, oh, he's a musician. So it's like the writing isn't very clear, in my opinion, on certain things. So I'm not quite sure what happened to the mom. I believe she may be alive. Maybe she is. I think she's unstable, like in an institution, because when she did attack the stepmom after that scene,
that bracelet.
she had a hospital wristband on. And I think when they were talking to the cops, Max had said something along the lines of, whatever happened to the mom. I don't know. They never really
The
go
daughter
into,
had texted her, but...
and she said, I thought she was doing better. So yeah, she is alive, because the daughter was texting her.
Yeah, it just sounded weird. That I would have liked to see more of the mom, though, because she is kind of mysterious, because she's connected to...
I know the girl was texting the mom, but how did the girl just randomly be like, oh, I know my mom won't like this, but I will definitely let you inside the house.
That's another thing. If she was locked up, how did she have a phone? I don't know.
If they're institutionalized, they don't have cell phones.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't really know much. I don't know. Or maybe she was institutionalized, and maybe she's in a halfway house now. I don't know. It doesn't really go into detail. And the whole scene of when she does attack the stepmom, and she's like, there's something here, I gotta save my girls. How does she know this, right? Like,
yeah, well, if she's, mentally unstable, maybe she is, like, hallucinating.
or maybe she is dead and we missed that, and she's a spirit or something.
Yeah.
Maybe she's the spirit that's inside Chauncey.
Chauncey, no.
No, because she's good. And when she attacks Jessica, I feel like she's trying to save Jessica and get her out of the way, not just her kids.
So let's just kind of backtrack here. Noah.
Yeah.
Did you love the movie? Did you like it? Did you hate it?
I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I think...
It was okay?
Yeah, it was in the between.
All right.
Some things about it was just kind of dumb, and then some things were like, oh, that's pretty good.
I loved it.
Penny?
It was pretty scary, but it was cool, though. I liked it.
I'm on the same page as Noah. The movie isn't necessarily
Scary.
terrible.
But it's not great.
I think some things about the movie are bad, but I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. This didn't feel like that, but it also, it felt kind of like just a quick, typical Blumhouse cash grab.
I think we should make our way back to the beginning of the movie, though.
Yeah, so one of the first things I noticed about this movie was the chemistry between Max and Jess, the dad and stepmom. But it felt very forced. I didn't feel like a love or connection. The chemistry felt very forced. It just didn't feel very realistic. The opening scene was pretty well done. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it was terrifying. There was a couple things that I could nitpick about it, because I do want to give it props, but I also want to sit here and it's a discussion. The opening scene with the dad, it almost gives you this vibe that the dad, for a second you think the dad is the bad guy chasing her because he's covered in blood and stuff. Then you see Chauncey the spider chase her. It was good. It was engaging. It was good enough to capture your attention. It started off kind of hot and strong, and I enjoyed that. I thought some parts were a little crappy, like when it's showing the wall with the writing on it, the scavenger list. And then she runs across it and slowly wipes her hand with the blood. It's like, come on, I don't know, that was really cheesy to me. And then when she's running from the spider, like a minute later in that same scene, and she's like going down the hall, she's dragging her hand for the blood and then messing up the blinds. I'm like, they could have done that before they filmed the scene if they wanted to look scary. It's like, she randomly walked up to the blinds and grabbed them and shook them and then walked off. And I'm like, who does that? When you're running from a giant 10-foot tall spider monster, like, you're not gonna, she didn't even open the blinds to look out the blinds. So I did notice some stuff like that. But I do think overall, the beginning scene, I think it was good enough to capture your attention and keep you engaged. It started off strong. Mia, what do you think about that opening scene?
I think it was pretty good. also been wondering whose tooth that was.
It was the dad's. He was missing the tooth in that scene.
Oh yeah, like this one.
Because part of the scavenger list was, remember how you had rules like something to cause pain or whatever?
Something that hurts you.
Something that hurts, yeah.
Something that burns.
Yeah, I think that was his something that hurts. He had the pliers and he pulled his tooth out.
I thought it was a little weird that the mom was like, something that burns. My hair. Go grab a piece of paper. You're an artist.
No, it's something of yours. Like a piece of hair.
A finger.
Yeah, but
leg.
But Alice used something that was paper. That had paper in it.
Yeah, that's something that will get you in trouble.
Penny, what do you think of that opening scene?
I think I don't really like scary movies like that. So like sometimes I just cover my eyes, cover my ears. But I love the part where like it's pretty creepy, but you know how they spawn where in the spirit thing?
Never Ever realm?
Yeah, the Never Ever realm. And the grandma gets pretty sus. And then she's close to the door, and then Tachi just like immediately grabs her and starts chomping like I think her legs off because that's
No,
what
he took his claw and started boom.
What do you think of that opening scene?
I think it was pretty good. I don't know why she would just like smear her hand on the freaking wall, and then like later on in the movie, it's like gone.
Well, so that's a flashback. Yes, it was a dream because she wakes up, but that was her dreaming of what happened when she was a kid. That's why she got separated from her dad and had to go live with her grandmother because he was deemed crazy, but we all know he's not actually crazy. He went into the Never Ever to save her, and he looked into Chauncey's eyes, and it made him crazy. That's why he had to pull his tooth out and stuff. And if you notice, when the movie first starts, he's screaming, "It's okay, it's okay." He's trying to tell her, "It's okay, I came to save you," but he's a little crazy because he looked in Chauncey's eyes. That's why his eyes are all white.
And his
Yeah, that's why he said your friend's never coming back.
What do you think? What did you think of the opening scene?
I loved it. I thought it was the beginning of the movie at first, which it started off really strong. My favorite part was probably that you come to find out that all of this was real and it happened to her as a kid, but it's based in her apartment that she lives in now. But it's not like she remembers any of this growing up, so she just thinks it's night terrors.
Well, that goes to kind of one of the themes of the movies is like childhood trauma. In real life, kids will create an imaginary friend. Sometimes just naturally, that's normal, but a lot of times kids create imaginary friends to help deal with trauma that they've been through or they're currently going through, or if they're in a bad living situation. Another theme of childhood trauma is repression. You repress memories that you don't want to remember as an adult that happened to you as a kid. So that's why she dreams about it.
Yeah, and I think it's funny how it correlates to the book too. Like she expresses herself through the book, and she is Millie the millipede.
Noah, what'd you think of the opening scene?
I thought it was a little weird because you saw the dad, and then for a second it looked like the spider just casually walked around the guy and just started chasing her, but then I noticed he transformed into Simon.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird. I was like, but he's the good guy, so how'd he transform into Simon? Then when she wakes up, I was like, oh, it's just a dream. Of course it's going to be a little weirder than it actually happens.
I did think it was weird that it was a spider, but it's also that weird sack-looking
Like
thing.
alien. It looks like a Martian with a ginormous head.
Right, and like
I know,
he
it's
has
like-
no eyes. It's like sunk in.
Yeah.
Like I
It's
don't
like as big
understand.
as over there.
You're never able to fully get to what he looks like because he's usually fast. He's like, dun, 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 dun.
Well, that's
dun, dun,
okay.
dun.
Like, it's nice when sometimes movies don't show everything. Like, you want to see something. Like, a lot of the shots in the movie when she was downstairs in the basement and you would see Chauncey in the background and then she would bend down, pick something up, come back, and he's gone. Those shots are cool, right?
But is that Chauncey though?
Yeah.
Real
Chauncey's the bear, the spider, and the creepy alien.
Chauncey is good at manipulating what you see. That's why...
The nail turned into a flower.
Yes, exactly. Chauncey was making her see it as a flower instead of a nail, or else she wouldn't want to smash it. That's why Jess and Alice were the only people that could see the bear, because Chauncey was only allowing them to see him as a bear. That's why nobody else could see the bear. He's a master at manipulating reality.
So he isn't really a bear. He's making him.
Yes, he's not
see him
actually a
as
bear. Chauncey is a spirit, and these spirits are what kids call imaginary friends. And sometimes when you grow up and you abandon them, that's when they get malevolent. They get angry.
They're like, you
That's
know what?
why,
I'll
yes.
make you see me as a teddy bear and then
Is that why they say they're hungry? Because they want the souls of
No, they want your imagination. You go to this never ever realm, right? And they don't want you to leave. And they always say they feed on your imagination. And then Gloria,
She
she
died.
kept saying stuff like he was devouring your creativity and your imagination. There's like this theme throughout the movie that's what this creativity, this art, this imagination. I mean, in reality, the never ever realm is your imagination. In my opinion, he's a spirit that has lived for ages. I think Chauncey is a spirit that is as old as time. I don't think Chauncey can actually be defeated. Kind of like Freddy Krueger. You can't actually kill Freddy Krueger. His power comes from feeding on your fears. How you defeat Freddy Krueger is you stop being afraid. You fight him in your dreams. You stop being afraid. So in my opinion, I think Chauncey gets his strength from feasting on kids' imaginations. I feel like that's why he lures kids to the never ever. Some kids don't ever come back. They disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they go there and he kills them and feeds on their souls and their imagination.
But the one thing that confuses me is he has to use all of this energy to create these imaginary things. So it's just like an endless cycle. Like he uses all of that energy to create all of this for the kids so that he can draw more kids in and use that creativity.
We never saw Chauncey hurt or do anything in the physical reality. You know, like when he was sitting by the bed on the floor and there was the scratch marks on the dresser, were they really there or is that just what he was making Jess and Alice see? I mean, you got to think about it. Throughout the whole movie, he doesn't make anybody do anything and doesn't hurt anybody until he kills Gloria in the never ever realm. So maybe he doesn't. Maybe the only powers he has in the physical realm in our world is manipulation of
And
what
he
you
never
say.
hurt anyone else.
No, I mean they remember the little boy in the video, in the Dr. Soto's video where he
The
had.
boy cut his own thumb off.
But he disappeared. She said when she was telling Jess about that kid, she was like a week later. This kid was never seen again.
Yeah, because he went to the never ever.
Right.
And never came back. But that doesn't mean that he hurt him.
He got the kid to cut his own thumb off.
Yeah.
What I'm saying though is that you're saying he's never hurt anybody. Well, he has. He just can't do it in our realm. He has to get them to.
He makes them hurt themselves, is what I'm trying to
It's
say.
part of the sacrifice to get to the never ever realm. I think it's kind of like a ritual. Like you know, like when you want to summon a spirit in other movies, you got to perform a sacrifice.
You
I
have
think
to light a candle and
and do all this stuff. I think to get to the never ever.
That's a kid's version of it, like getting all these supplies, like a pencil, or cutting your own thumb off, or getting pictures of yourself.
Right, you're not going to get a kid to do get a Ouija board and some candles, and you know they're not going to do that. Yeah, so that's why he had to do the flower, with the nail to slap it. So I think he's a spirit that can't be defeated. So the theory online that I was reading up is that, well, why didn't Jess and them go crazy when they looked into his eyes? I think that if you have the mental strength and willpower, especially as an adult, because remember, she's an artist. She never lost her creativity. That's what she does for a living. I think that you can, kind of like Freddy Krueger, you can overpower it if you have the mental strength. I think that's what stopped her from going crazy.
Well, even the stepdaughter was staring into his eyes too. So it's like, is that coming like in a next movie? Is that
maybe
is she sane?
Maybe her creativity is her listening to music, because she in her room she likes to listen to music. So
maybe it
that's
doesn't
her
have to be creativity.
imagination.
Maybe it's just mental strength. Taylor, I mean, she's a tough cookie. I know she's that standard bratty teenager, but
She's pretty tough.
she's hard-headed. Hard-headed people they have a lot of mental strength. So that's why it's hard to get through to hard-headed people.
Speaking of hard-headed,
Girls, do y'all want to?
Yes, the weird thing about this movie is the door. She draws a door that's with the lockpick that says never ever, but when she goes down to the basement and there's like a brick wall, they paint the wall, like they do stuff to open the thing to the never ever to find the best friend, but also that she named this. Even though there's already a thing named, the spider named Chauncey, she named the bear Chauncey.
That's because he's manipulating their mind.
Okay, first of all, Penny, you just proved my last point I made, and you are a genius for that. That's the point I'm trying to make to you guys. In that realm, your imagination is everything. That's how they escaped. They painted a door and believed with their imagination that would help them escape.
Yeah, like the bouncy ball. She broke it open and there was paint inside of it, but it's a bouncy ball.
I believe the never ever realm is like the land of imagination. I don't believe it's a happy place, but I believe that so many kids have gone there and died. I think like when Chauncey looks into people's eyes, I think they go crazy because if he really is this being, this creature that's existed for ages, and he's done nothing but devour all these kids' imaginations. I mean, imagine putting all that into your brain. I feel like it fries your brain.
Yeah.
So does he like take them and eat them, or does he sit them there and like they think about everything, and everything they're thinking about goes to what they're thinking, but they can't think about it again, and then all that's been everything they dreamed is inside that right now, but they can't think of anything else, and then they just...
That could be interpretation. For all we know, the Never Ever realm that we saw with all the checkers and the upstairs, stairs that go up and down and sideways, and it's all blue and cloudy, that could just be that interpretation that Chauncey was making them see. We don't know. Maybe everybody sees it differently. Like, maybe those three were seeing it that way together, but maybe when that little boy who cut his thumb off, he saw it a different way. You know, Chauncey is a manipulator of reality of what you see, so...
Yeah.
Maybe he saw him, like, cutting a vegetable or cutting like he's cooking food or something.
I don't know. I mean, because, you know, when they thought they escaped, they ended up back in that bedroom.
Yeah.
I think it's whatever Chauncey wants you to see in that moment. We don't even know if the spider form really is his actual form. What we do know is that he used Alice to get Jess back there. That was his whole plan along.
He didn't really want Alice. He just wanted Jessica back.
Yes, exactly. He knew if he got Alice there, Jessica would chase after him. So maybe he took on that spider form because that's the form he always took with Jess. Maybe she is afraid of spiders, so that's why he took on that form.
Well,
There's a lot you don't know.
Maybe she only used that form for him in this movie because she liked drawing that picture, so...
No, that's why she drew that. That's why she grew up and became an artist and used him, because she was what she saw as a kid.
And she depicted him as the bad guy.
Now I understand.
That's why she grew up and wrote the book. Millie the millipede was essentially her as a little girl, and the spider in the book was Chauncey when she was a kid.
Do you remember when she was reading the book to Chauncey? She was talking about going through all the doors in Millie Millipede's mansion. That's part of the Never Ever.
Yeah, you can kind of see some of the pictures, but then at the end, Simon hugs the millipede.
Yeah.
He's actually the good guy.
Spirits get mad when kids grow up and abandon them and forget about them. You know, when you grow up and you don't have an imaginary friend anymore. So the reason why he used Alice is because she was a child and she would be able to feel his presence and see him. Chauncey knew if he became Alice's friend and took her to the Never Ever, Jess would go in there looking for her. The whole point of the movie is that Chauncey wanted Jess. So that's why he took Alice, because he knew Jess would go after her.
Yeah, he wasn't actually Alice's friend.
He was using her to get to Jess. Mina, tell us something you liked or didn't like.
Did you like the way Chauncey jump scared Taylor's friend?
Liam.
Yeah, Liam. When Liam came to Jessica's house, Jessica told Taylor to watch over Alice, and so she invited Liam over, and Liam called Alice a psycho, so maybe Chauncey got mad at him and wanted to, like, get revenge on him. So after he was using the bathroom, there was a, like, pink rag on top of Chauncey, and he stepped on Chauncey's thing, and then Chauncey started coming towards him, and then when Chauncey came towards him, he turned into that big bear monster.
I feel like Chauncey decided to make fun of him and throw the blanket at him, so when Taylor came, he was like, "Are you using?" I think Chauncey tried to make fun of him and make Taylor think he's a loser by throwing the blanket at him, so that it looks like he's trying to cuddle with the little blanket.
I don't think Chauncey exactly liked Alice, because his person that he wanted for so long was Jess, because he got abandoned by her. But I think he didn't do it. I don't think he terrorized Liam to protect or defend Alice. I think it was in his best interest that Alice trust him 100%, so that she would go to the Never Ever.
Yeah.
So that was a good way to build trust. Hey, you don't like this guy and he's bothering you? I'll take care of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was manipulation for sure.
Yeah. One cool part, when they were doing the therapy session with Dr. Soto, and she was like, "Maybe we shouldn't be friends anymore," and it shows Chauncey and his eyebrows are...
I know.
Yeah, he was angry. He was like...
Even when they were talking to the babysitter outside, like, it pans to him and you can see, like, he looks angry.
Yeah.
I love that.
You know what's weird? A part of the movie, Taylor's friends were showing pictures of each other on, like, Facebook or something, and when Taylor took a picture, Jessica's babysitter was staring at her window, and it looks like she was carrying, like, a knife and just started running towards the door.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Gloria was in the background of the picture.
Yeah.
I don't
you
think
can see her, like, her
Yeah.
arm leaving.
Let's get on to likes and dislikes, even if it's petty stuff, just because this kind of ties into that.
Tell me what you like and don't like, baby.
I like the Gloria scenario. I don't know if the actor portrayed... It's weird. Like, she portrays the crazy old lady well, but at the same time... I don't know, so much of
She
this...
was kind of bland for a crazy old lady.
So much of this acting in this movie felt forced, but then it would have these moments where, like, I'll be fair, it had its moments where it shined. Like, Alice annoyed me. I wasn't a fan of a lot of her acting. But then she would come through, like, with that crying scene with Dr. Soda, where she's like... Maybe we should be friends. Like, you really... I felt like that was good. Or even Taylor, you know... She plays this annoying, obnoxious, rebellious teenager so well. I can't tell if I didn't like her acting and it annoyed me, or if she played the role of an annoying teenager so well that it annoyed me. I can't, yeah. Then, like, when she was crying, I will say, like, when the cops were there after the whole scene with the mom and the tea party, and the dad walked up and she was like, Dad, I'm so sorry. Mom was doing well, and she was like, that was good acting. Yeah. That was really good. That caught my...
horrible acting for the dad, though. He was just like...
There was no redeeming fact. I'm sorry. The guy's acting, as well as, like, the role in the movie, like, as a father...
And his
just
features.
All of it, yeah. Just, that was a terrible casting. I'm not a fan. I'm sure if anybody's listening to this, they're going to say you're a loser. He did great, but I was not a fan of that.
I'm going to be honest with you. His acting just sucks.
Even the dynamic between Taylor, the teenager, and Dad, yes, in real life, when your daughter becomes a teenager, there will be friction. There's going to be, like, a lack of connection because it's a dad and his teenage daughter. I mean, I'm not saying they don't love each other, but yeah, you're going to butt heads. But, like, even in this movie, it just felt, it was so artificial. It came across as just so bland. I don't know.
Yeah, like, even that whole alley cat thing, that's our thing. And then she turned around, and Dad said, absolutely
nothing.
That's part of the writing. Like, nobody would actually say that in real life. Nobody would be like, that's our thing, stepmom. Back off. That's just part of that writing. The scene where my grandmother, who I had to live with when my mom died, it felt like she was literally reading her lines off a flashcard. Nobody talks like that. I mean, somebody would say, like, when I was young, my mom died. I had to go live with my grandma. Sometimes the writing in this movie felt really bad.
The creepy part is when they were having that recording talk. When Alice said, Chauncey, that made me scared. Maybe she was trying to make Chauncey's voice and got so convinced.
So that was actually Chauncey talking during the movie. He was using her voice. He was tricking the parents. The parents thought the whole movie that she was doing Chauncey's voice, like talking to herself. And that's why he used her voice. Because if they had heard a demon or a monster and they're talking to her, they would have ran in there.
But how did Chauncey use her voice? I thought
he's a entity. He's a demonic.
The bear wasn't even really there.
Yeah, baby, the bear wasn't really there. He was making Alice. That's why I remember in the video, the doctor and Taylor, they couldn't see the bear in the recording. Chauncey was making Alice and the stepmom Jess see the bear. That's why they're the only two that could see the bear. He's not actually there.
And also, the scary part is when she was taking a video because she was having a little tea party with Chauncey, and then there was another, like, grayish blackish person over there, and she said, I like your dress. She said, thank you, and just randomly got out of the chair, started running, and then Alice looked at her mom very creepily and said, she says she's behind you. I don't think she looks around, but it was pretty creepy.
Which is another thing, too. That's a good point, Penny. Obviously, we've established that the mom was alive, and somehow she knew about the entity. I don't understand that. I don't know how.
Yeah, she ran away, but how she know it was there? And, like,
right.
She wanted to protect her kid.
Well, that's why she was there, to protect them, so she knew something with evil was in the house. That's how she said, hey, he's standing right behind you. Taylor didn't know anything about this entity at that point, and she was the one communicating with the mom, so I don't understand. Did the mom go crazy at some point?
It's really weird, because Taylor, she's normally not a part of this movie that much, because when they were, because Jessica told Taylor to watch over her
Alice.
Yes, her sister Alice, and the point is she is either like spending all her teenage time in her room or outside. Jessica opened the blinds and she saw her just reading her book outside, and then she started to remember that's what her dad does. So I think she's trying to copy what her dad does or something. She remembers Jessica's dad. I don't know.
I think that's Chauncey manipulating her, seeing her dad outside reading the same book that Taylor was reading.
I think you both make valid points. I don't think that's what they were trying to convey in the movie, although you are connecting a lot of dots that could be connected. I don't think that's what was happening. It's kind of like how my dad watched me play with toys in this house when I was a boy. So now when he comes over and sees you guys as kids playing here, it reminds him of when I used to play there. I think that was just Jess looking out the window, remembering that her dad used to read in that chair, and now her stepdaughter's reading in that chair. It was just kind of like a...
Well, it's not even that she remembered, because he was older, and the crazy lady had told her that's what her dad used to do.
As you start applying yourself and taking your trauma head on, you start to unpack things that are repressed. I mean,
that was the millipede book that he was reading.
Oh, yeah, very true. Yeah.
So it was like part of her imagination. It could be Chauncey leading that, or it could be herself.
Well, another thing, too, Chauncey was active and involved with Gloria. Mm-hmm. That's how she knew who he was. That's how she knew to lead them there. That's how he had promised her. He would give her all the secrets of the Never Ever Realm. And I think that's kind of what the Never Ever Realm was when they were looking through all the doors of other kids there. Mm-hmm. And even at the end when they were in that hotel, I think Chauncey is a spirit that is interacting with multiple children. I don't think he's just connected to Jess or Alice. I think that, I don't want to say the word haunt, but I think that he is several kids'
like
imaginary friend.
Well, the weird part is when Jessica's an adult, she has a dream, and I think she escaped through the door the same as when she was little. So her dad got crazy in her dream, and she was a grown adult in her dream because she was already an adult when she was sleeping. And she was wearing pink, and when she was little, she was also wearing pink. And when she said, "Sorry, I couldn't finish the game," when she was an adult, he was yelling, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay." And when she was little, that happened too.
I think that's her dreaming, but her as an adult instead of a child.
It's time for Mia's opinion.
I have been noticing for a little while why Jessica said, "I'm sorry we couldn't finish our game." The scavenger hunt.
Yeah, she was probably doing the same thing because I think she might have had Chauncey when she was little, and Chauncey was hypnotizing her. And I think they did the same thing when they were an adult and a little child.
She was
because her dad came to rescue her. What if Chauncey could have ate in her?
Maybe as a kid, she thought that Chauncey was taking her to the Never Ever Realm to play a bunch of fun games and always hang out. So maybe she feels guilt. There's a thing called Stockholm Syndrome, which means that even though somebody's hurting you or doing something wrong to you, you still feel guilt that maybe they're upset or they get hurt, even though they're the bad people doing something wrong to you. So
because you still love them and you have that feeling for them.
Right. So I think maybe it's either that or maybe she didn't realize that he was bad. Maybe she thought that she did all this stuff to get to the Never Ever Realm, to stay there with him forever and always play, and maybe she felt like leaving hurt him. It could be interpretation. Maybe there is a clear answer that the writer wanted us to see, but once again, sometimes with these movies, if the writing's not very great, we have to interpret it ourselves. And that's the best part about art.
Yeah, it's like, how did the dad know how to do the scavenger hunt or any of the stuff? How did he know how to get to the door?
Could be the same way as Jess. She found Alice's paper upstairs. Maybe he saw her paper. Or maybe that what was drawn on the wall was something that Jess as a kid drew on the wall and he was reading it.
Yeah, that was...
Because it did say that she would always draw on walls all over the house, but they let her. They didn't care. They let her draw.
All right, Mia, tell us some of the things you liked, you didn't like, and what would you give the movie out of 10?
I didn't like how the mom stabbed herself because it was very scary. I would never do that. I would rather just cut myself.
Kids, don't stab yourself.
That's a big no-no.
Tell me something you liked.
I like when she painted the book, Molly the Millipede and Spiders.
What would you give it out of 10? 5 being in the middle. So 1 is terrible, 10 is amazing, 5 is in the middle. You liked it. It's not bad, not good.
I'll give it a 6.
So watch it again, but maybe not anytime soon.
Yeah.
All right, Penny, tell us something you didn't like.
It's weird because I didn't like the part where she cut her hand off. It was pretty scary. I don't like the part where that lady was just staring at her window because I thought she was trying to sneak in her house, come running in there, trying to kill them because there was something in her hand, kind of like Chucky.
Tell us a part that you did like. What was one of your favorite parts?
I like the part where Taylor thought that the little girl that was starting to run around, laughing around. So she started following her. She got closer to her because she was just staring at the wall, in the corner of the wall. And she turned behind her. I think she may have just scared her. I don't know. Then later on, she disappeared, then she came back, right back, and then she said, Chauncey's coming for you. Footsteps coming all around the halls, and when she turned the thing off, Chauncey was just right there staring at her. So she turned it back on, and Chauncey disappeared.
1 out of 10. Remember, 5 isn't necessarily bad. It's not. You don't think of it as a school grade. A 50 would be bad, but 1 is terrible, 10 is amazing, 5 is it was okay. So what would you give it out of 10?
10 out of 10.
You think it was an amazing movie?
Yes,
Okay.
but just the creepy part where the lady was staring out her window.
With
it
Gloria.
was very creepy because I thought she was like carrying a kitchen knife or something, trying to run in their house, trying to kill them.
All right, Noah, tell us something you really hated and something you really loved, and then give us a score.
What I really hated, maybe close out of the whole movie, the mom tries to, when kids are little, you kind of have to talk to them with a little baby voice. But she went, "You like that alley cats?" I thought that was really weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
What I really liked was when she was like, "This place is amazing," talking about how the place is, it's so cool, the dreams, and then she immediately starts dying, and it's like, "Help me, I hate this place."
Oh, Gloria?
Yeah, she's like, "Help me, he's killing me."
When Chauncey ripped her in.
Yeah, he's like, "Are you sure this place is amazing?"
So what would you rate it?
7 out of 10.
Okay, Morgan, it's time.
What's something that you really disliked?
The first time I watched it, I couldn't find anything that I disliked. After that, I realized that a lot of the communication just doesn't fit, like how they talk to each other and the words that they use.
So you're a professional on communication all of a sudden?
And then also, like, the storyline is kind of confusing. Like how in the beginning of the movie, they're like, it's my happy place, but she doesn't remember anything about that place. So it's like, it just doesn't make sense.
So the writing. All that can be summed
I
up
was
to
like all over the place.
I'm not being sarcastic. That's one of my complaints,
Yeah.
the writing. What was something that you stood out that you really liked? It doesn't have to be anything spectacular. It's just something you're like, oh, that was awesome.
My favorite part of the movie was hide and seek, when Alice came into the bedroom trying to hide from Chauncey. I love that scene. The only complaint I have is how long it took Jessica to get to the edge of the bed. It wasn't even like it was suspenseful. It was just creepy to me because as a little kid, I would always be terrified of under my bed. And the fact that she was upside down under the bed.
It's relatable for 2 reasons. As horror movie fans, we're used to the jump scare under the bed, right?
Yeah.
We're used to that. But also as parents, I 100% would hang one of the kids upside down if you were looking under the bed to scare the crap out of you.
Yeah.
So it's like we related to it as horror fans,
Yeah.
but we also relate to it as parents. Sorry.
Yeah, that was my favorite scene in the whole movie.
What are you going to rate it?
Personally, so if it was written a little bit better, I feel like it could have been so much better.
As every poorly written movie could. As every poorly written movie could be.
Yeah, that's my only complaint, really. I guess my main complaint is how it just doesn't mesh very well. It's disrupted. All in all, I think it's a great movie. I would say 6.5.
Morgan's like, this burnt pizza could be better if it wasn't burnt.
You know what I was trying to say, though?
You just said that you loved it so much.
And you're gonna give it a 6.5?
I dislike Max, the father. I did not like him as an actor. I didn't like any of his scenes. I thought he was very redundant. To the plot, man! And I dislike the writing. A lot of the complaints that we've hosted that you just said is valid. I think the writing is poor in a lot of scenes. Then in some scenes it's good. So yeah, it's disruptive. It's almost like you have this really nice film that has these poorly written scenes that disrupt the flow. Something I did like though, I'm a sucker for creature features. So while yes, Chauncey is a spirit, I like the fact that he took the role of a giant spider monster or even the teddy bear. I really enjoyed kind of Easter egg, right? Because one of the last movies Blumhouse put out in the theaters was Five Nights at Freddy's, and Chauncey, before he turned into the big spider at the end of the movie, we got to see him as a giant killer looking teddy bear. So it kind of gave me a Nightmare Freddy vibe throughout the movie. I really thought that was really cool.
That is cool.
But I like the idea, I guess, to give it a positive besides the Easter egg of the Freddy Fazbear. I like the premises of imaginary friends being like the spirits that are attached to kids to feast on their imagination, and that they get malevolent when abandoned. It starts to make you sit here and go, if this was real, man, I had an imaginary friend.
Yeah.
I know I had one. Mine was Goku, but
You're Goku?
Yeah, I used to talk to Goku like we were pals. All in all, though, I've done more talking than I probably should have on this podcast. I would give it a 6, but I also feel like I'm a little easy. If I was more harsh with my scoring, I could see myself giving it a 4 or even a 4.5. Because I can be a little softy for horror movies compared to other movies, I would give it a 6. That's the end of this podcast. I'm your hostess without the mostest, Michael. My co-host Mia. My co-host Penelope.
Hi.
My co-host Noah. We're all a pleasure. Morgan will not be inviting you back to the show. Bobby, if you're listening to this, I want to give a shout out to Bobby Taylor.
Hey, Bobby.
We love you.
Thanks for supporting I almost said stream. This is a podcast.
This is a podcast, Daddy.
I know, get it together.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Anyways, hope everybody enjoys their snacks.
Food, life, people.
Enjoy your life.
Thanks for hanging out with
5
us.
hours away.
Catch our next podcast as it's uploaded probably in 4 months because I procrastinate. But as I said, this is Swimming in Popcorn. Stay crunching, stay munching, but most of all, I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.